All right, good morning. Welcome in for another Friday Safety Focus of the Week. It is June 9th. This week's code of conduct is to speak and act supportly of ECI as a company and of our workers. Ken, is there any thing you'd like to add on this code item this week for us?
It comes down to speaking about other people like you would like them to speak about you.
Yes. Basic principles. So good job this past 7 days. Another 7 days without a recordable after kind of a bumpy first start of the construction season. So we're really starting to find our footings out there on getting on our job sites. So let's not get complacent now. Let's try to continue to start the day off with a good briefing, good plan, talk about our hazards, how we're going to mitigate and control them, work together as a team, and then utilize health and safety as you seem fit regarding the plan in the next 14 days. If you have fall protection needs, excavation support system needs, confined space, I'm going to be working on slopes, whatever it may be. Let's really try to focus and highlight those more at-risk tasks so we can continue our trend of safe work practices and safe work days from any first aid or recordable injuries. So this week, we wanted to kind of highlight load securement. Something that we've seen kind of in passing is some of our load securement straps, ratchet straps out there are getting a little old and worn. So we wanted to kind of highlight this, but also talk about the regs. It's a good refresher. I've actually looked back, and it's been really since 2018 since we've kind of highlighted some of the basic rules of load securement and the requirements that the Federal Motor Care Safety Administration has set down for us when we're in transit, on the job, in transit, hauling construction materials to and from jobs. So the general rule is cargo must be firmly immobilized or secured on or within a vehicle by structures of adequate strength, dunnage, loose materials used to support and protect cargo. Dunnage, to fill spaces between articles of cargo or between cargo and the wall of the vehicle. Shoring bars, tie downs, which we most likely commonly used, or a combination of these. So the cargo placement and restraints that we use. So these articles of cargo that are likely to roll must be restrained by chocks, wedges, or cradle, or equivalent means to prevent rolling. That's what we really want to try to do. We want this load to be stationed and not in motion. This means of preventing rolling must not be capable of becoming unintentionally unfastened or loosened when the vehicle is in transit. Articles of cargo placed beside each other and secured by transverse tie downs must be 1, placed in direct contact with each other, or prevented from shifting towards each other while in transit. So that's why when we see, especially all of our bigger mobs, we have our tie downs on all 4 corners of our excavator. If you've seen that, that's pretty much all 4 corners of your excavator, and then 1 around the bucket. It's kind of a standard practice. Where we kind of get in trouble is some of these odd and unique loads with a lot of different pipe and waste blocks, whatever it may be. So that's why it's important to highlight the minimum working load limit for cargo securement devices and systems. So the working load limit of any securement system used to secure an article or group of articles, which is our cargo, against movement must be at least 1/2 the weight of the article or groups of article. So again, our tie downs must be within 1/2 of the load itself. So if something weighs 1,000 pounds, we need to make sure our ratchet straps or our chains and binders is at least 1/2 the working load limit of that load. And we've got to remember to make sure we prevent it from movement. So we really want to try to get the corners on both sides so we can prevent this thing from moving. So the working load limit is the sum of, again, 1/2 the working load limit of each tie down that goes from an anchor point to the vehicle to an attachment point on the article of cargo. The working load limit for each tie down that goes from an anchor point on the vehicle through and over and around the cargo and then attaches to another anchor point on the vehicle. So that's kind of typical with our minis. You go from one side of the trailer and you go all the way over the rubber tracks or the tracks of a mini excavator. Another little trick you can do, especially if it's like a pipe, you can loop it around, create like a basket hitch around the pipe to prevent that load from shifting and moving from one side of the trailer to the other side of the trailer. So lastly is remembering the minimum numbers of tie downs. This is something that we kind of see misused out there quite a bit. So this is a kind of an important one. I'm trying to make this as crystal clear as possible. There's a minimum number of tie downs that we need to use. So again, it kind of talks about that against the movement, meet the requirements. So when an article of cargo is not blocked or positioned to prevent movement in the forward direction, the number of tie downs needed depends on the length and weight of the articles. So there must be one tie down for articles 5 feet or less in length or less than 1,100 pounds. So if it's under 1,100 pounds and it's less than 5 feet, one tie down is effective and allowed by the regulatory agent. If it's greater than 5 feet but less than 10 feet, regardless of weight, we need to have two. And if it's over 1,100 pounds, we need to make sure we have 2, 3, 4, again, depending on the weight of what we're trying to tie down and secure. So it's very important that we always make sure that we have some types of ratchet straps, binding chains, binders on all of our stuff. Doesn't even matter if it's in the back of a 1-ton. If it's a tamp in the back of a 1-ton, it can't just be not tied down. We need to at least make sure there's a strap or it is weighed down. So the biggest thing, the highlight of all this training and load securement is we need to always have a plan. We need to inspect our tie downs, synthetics, especially our synthetics, especially if it's an older one. Let's take it out of service. We have upgraded into a 1,000-pound ratchet strap now. We were about at 700 previous, so we kind of beefed up our smaller ratchet straps. So everything that we have now is pretty overweight for what we do. So that's great. But again, let's not make sure we have any synthetics that are cut, abrasion, a lot of wear and tear out there. So let's try to really make sure that we have a plan, inspect before use, and let's transport our tools and our equipment and our construction materials safely out there on the roadway. So let's not have something like this happen to this driver, because that's a bad day. Let's not have those bad days when losing loads out there and putting our fellow Vermonters at risk on the roadway. Is there anything to add, Ken?
The new straps are blue. Of course, the old ones were the black. So the blue straps have, I believe, 1,000-pound rating each.
Yep. If there's any other follow-up questions, please contact us and we can talk about it again and utilize Scott Burns and all the movers if you have any questions regarding load securement, because those guys do it each and every day and they're very good and very professional at it.
Yes. Okay, I'll take over the screen. There we go. You see my screen?
We got it.
Okay, good. So for announcements this week, there's been a few people who have not done their HC-2 health declaration form, which has to be done. So those people will receive a new form with their paycheck this week, and the deadline has been extended to June 14th. Don't wait for June 14th, just get it in. It's something everybody needs to do. So if you don't get it in, then you'll be hearing directly from the accounting department. And we're continuing this announcement that the 2022 year profit sharing distribution to your 401k plan was made recently. So check it out. And if you don't have access to the Newport Group portal, then check with accounting department and get that set up. And we're still just starting from last week, the healthcare premium holiday for the people on ECI healthcare insurance. There's no payments. That'll last for 14 weeks. Starting last week. And new employees, we have Willie McSorley, Robert Frederick, Jacob Granfield, and Sean Bolio. So welcome, everybody. Look for these guys on your job site and make them feel welcome and get to know them. I also have a link to the primary care wellness program. And if you're in it, you need to make sure you're up to date on your yearly physicals. I got an appointment next week. And for this week, we're talking about the VTrans Cambridge BM 22802. It's a bridge in Cambridge, Vermont. Is Mark on? Mark Peliquin on?
Yep.
Yeah, do you want me to drive or you want to take
Sure.
the screen?
You can drive, Ken.
Okay, sounds good. I'll give you a little bit of space here and go ahead.
So this is a project, it's on Route 108. It's up by Smuggler's Notch, right at the entrance to the resort. The work performed here, again, is one of these, I call them the scratch and patch, where we remove the existing bridge pavement, go in and do some deck repairs. There's various types, class 1, 2, and 3. Essentially, 1 is to the top mat rebar, class 2 is to the second mat rebar, and 3 is when you go all the way through. Project is done in 2 phases, and we were able to use our own traffic control temporary signals out there to control the traffic. You can see the picture there. The entrance is on the left-hand side of the screen. You can't really see it there, but that's where the Smuggler's Notch entrance is. So very close to the resort. And they're very interested in making sure we get done by July 4th so that they can have their fireworks ceremony up there. And I'm interested in getting done before the 4th too.
Right.
That's a picture of the bridge. It's just under 75 feet long. Again, it's done in phases, basically half at a time. And we're also going to be repairing the bridge rail on this. We're taking the old bridge rail off and putting some new bridge rail on. This kind of shows the phase where we take the pavement off and then we come back and we put a new membrane on after we've done all the repairs, and Jim and company go up and repave it for us.
It's like pretty good width on the bridge to work with.
Yeah, it's about 30 feet, which actually once you get out there, it's fairly tight once you get your barrels and,
right.
And of course you can kind of see it there, the 15.6 versus 15 feet. They got to have a little bit of overlap with their membrane. It actually gets pretty tight for the traffic.
Yep. It's phase 2.
Yep, phase 2, which is what we're in the middle of right now. Greg pulled off the pavement on Wednesday and sounded the deck yesterday, and now we're starting into the jackhammer phase. That kind of describes the different, which I already explained, the type of repairs and the classifications. We also do put, you can see that transverse joint. We also do go back and do plug joints when we're done, asphaltic plug joints. Here's a picture of Sean Bushy's crew up there milling. This one actually had a little phase one had a lot more. You can see that side road there. There's a lot more milling in phase one because we had to mill that side road out and pave it. And you'll see in some coming photos here where the paving crew was paving the side road. There's the guys jackhammering. You can see the in the background the cuts. We have to saw cut the edges so you get a good edge to pour back to. They jackhammer again. You have to remove all the rotten stuff, and they sound the deck originally to determine which areas are they kind of have a hollow sound to them. Some people do it with dropping a bar. Some people drag a chain, and they determine where the cut areas are, and they lay it out, and then we go and we saw cut the areas and jackhammer away. In some cases, the rebar actually gets removed because that's rotted as well. So we tie in new rebar, and we also have to shot blast and clean the rebar so they get a good bond to it when we pour the concrete patch back in. Here we are pouring. This is, you can see the smuggler's notch sign there on the left in the background. This is the high side of the deck. We were pouring from Harrison that day. Todd and Marty went up and helped. Marty's there in the foreground. Todd's up there with the rake, showing the boys how to rake some concrete. I was actually on site that day as well and helped. Got a lesson from Todd on how to rake concrete. That's NICOM. They were there that early, a couple weeks ago, Thursday morning, to membrane it. That's the NICOM foreman, just looking over the deck. There's the pavers, Jacob and Mike pulling in the side road in this photo. And there they are setting back on main line after the side road was pulled in and paving the main line. And you see the bridge in the background.
Any big trucks go through?
I'm not sure. I think we with DMV you have to, if you're going to be less than 14 feet of lane width, you have to request an out of width permit.
Yeah.
So that did happen. Now, of course, we all know that trucks constantly get stuck in the notch, but I think it's more the other side than this side, isn't it? Typically that they get stuck on. I'm
not sure, but I know I've had an unfortunate situation with a pickup truck up there. We won't get into that though. It is pretty tight up there. If you haven't been there.
It was funny because the NICOM guys are actually, they were NICOM got purchased by a company out of New Hampshire, Venture Construction, and these guys that were there that day were actually Venture Construction employees, and they had never been through the notch, and they went through with their trucks, and they said,
oh boy,
they didn't know if they'd try that again. They said it was very tight.
Yeah,
I bet.
And again, that you can see them. They're at this point they're about 3/4 across the deck, paving.
Yep.
Good.
And there's the finish roller wiping it down. You can see that the signal in the background there.
Yes.
Another interesting piece is we have what's called a DAD that controls this side road. It's directional assistance device, and it works with the signals, and it has an arrow that points which direction. So basically, essentially, it points in the direction that has green going. And I believe Matt could tell you better than I, but I believe you can attach multiple DADs to these signals, and they all talk wirelessly to know which way the direction is green. And it's kind of a cool little device. It's not very big. It's about the size of half the size of a light tower, and it sits on the side of the road and just points the active direction.
That's
Yep.
pretty slick.
Definitely helps with these three-way intersections.
Yeah, I mean, you used to have to put another signal there, and that can happen too. You can put multiple signals out, and they'll all talk and coordinate themselves, or you have to coordinate them, but they'll stay coordinated by themselves. But these little DADs are pretty neat. I don't think you'd want to control a major intersection with them, but for a little side road that gets a handful of cars an hour, it works perfect.
Yeah,
Especially
for all of
when,
our.
when you have full sight distance there, you know, through your
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah, all the Royal Vermont job sites. We're using them down in Royalton too. Exact same
Yep.
system. It's really nice.
Another one I want to mention is Troy's crew. We really felt on phase one that the state kind of went overboard with their marking of what was good and bad, and Troy's crew was up there for 3 weeks pounding the crap out of what I felt was good concrete, and we got with the inspector. Phase two is going to be a little bit different attack, but those guys definitely spent their time up there and appreciated the help.
Okay, well, thanks, Mark. For the project archive, photo archive, here we have I-91 bridge in Linden. Back in August 2010, we were paving for a similar project. I think we were a subcontractor there.
Probably. Might have been
Yeah.
for C-Card, maybe.
Yeah, I would think C-Card, yep. So, good, all right.
Spread
Okay.
right out.
Yeah, that was one of my
Yeah, I
first.
think they're paving up there now, right? That area's getting done.
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah, probably.
So, okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a safe day. I'll turn it back over to you, Matt. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Ken. If you're watching a group setting, please send me a message so we can capture attendance. And also, we are going to start broadcasting this up here in the health and safety room for anyone that is around the shop and or might be kind of cramming into office. There's a lot more room up here. So we're going to have kind of a designated area for anyone around here at the shop that needs to watch the meeting or is kind of hanging out. Come up to health and safety. We'll broadcast it on the big screen so you can get up and get attendance and making sure everybody has a place to watch it if they can't get it on their phone.
Sounds good.
So, yep.
Hey, I just want to let everybody know, for anybody going through the 5 corners, we based in those railroad tracks this morning. I want people to just understand that it's not flush. So don't be going through it a good speed, expecting it to be super smooth because it's being done in phases. So there is a drop.
So
We
just
got
because it
bump
looks
signs?
good doesn't mean to go fast on it, huh?
Well, I mean, there's a 2-inch or in some places more than that drop. So I'd be going
Right.
at a speed.
We have a sign that says bump out there, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh yeah. But some people just don't look at signs.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
that's good liability for us. So that bump sign saves us a lot. So as long as it's
Yep.
there, that helps us.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day out there.
Yeah, stay safe.